I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like for that kind of thing, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Like, what's the metrics that determine that? The amount of streams, the amount of touring that's going on. But hip hop's never been like the number one music ever. It would always be a big deal if someone from hip hop was number one. But like country music, all that shit is always kicked their ass. You know what I mean? It's like for a hip hop person, it's very rare that there was like a number one hip hop artist. It doesn't happen that much. That's why it's such a big deal. There's only a couple that have done it. Think about how many hip hop artists there are. Country music has always been like to me rap. It's like white people rap, but it's also very sunny as well. So I've done records with like Church, you know, shit like that. I got a country record with Nicolette that we did off in the records called "You're So Fine." But the hip hop chart, like I think they're always trying to make hip hop look like it's struggling, but it's a change of how you make money now. It's different ways. Like there was no streaming before. There was no internet before. There was no AI before. So now it's going to be like who could master the new elements. Like I believe when drum machines came out to musicians, that was like AI. So now people with drum machines had AI. You know what I mean? But the art is like, there's just different arts now. So there's AI art, there's drum machine art, there's live music art. It's just all subject to like, you know, the sport. Like I got conversations with Kanye, like mad because back when the Grammys, and I was like, and he wanted Beyonce to win, and I was like, that played every instrument on that record. And I was like, Beyonce write a record. Is she play an instrument? So why does she deserve a Grammy over him? Because she's more famous? They will never give us Grammys for shit against them. Because you don't understand the art. The art is to be able to play those instruments, to be able to perform them. Like looping a record is an art to someone, but not to someone that just practiced 20 years to master an instrument. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's laughable. Like, I don't even jack a track pause. Like, I don't even, like, you're not allowed to perform in my spot over a track without some laughter. There's no art in karaoke to me. So it's just, the sports are getting different. But what I can say is, there's more verticals. There's more ways for a hip-hop artist to make money than just the music now. So maybe you might not make a lot of money from the music, but they could make a lot of money from the merch, they make a lot of money from the tour, they make a lot of money from the movie, or whatever endorsement. Like there's never been any money in it. It's always been the endorsements that come with it. It's the ancillary things that hip-hop doors open that make you the money. But record sales is never a big money maker. It takes, especially corporately, it takes too much money to sell a record. There's no margin. So if you're with a major label, they spend so much money on the stream, you know, and there's no profit. And this is the reason why they developed the 360 deal. It was because if they're going to spend so much money on this little speaker, they're like, we should be able to benefit from your show and your merch. That's where you make your money. So before, you know, the record label just owns your record. Now they want a piece of 360 and they get a piece of every little thing you do.
Right.
Because that's what, and I'm the reason that was invented, by the way.
Explain that one.
Because with Rockefeller, you know, again, there was no margin. We never had money. And you have to think about the split. It was like 50% to Def Jam, then the other 50 split between me, Jay, and Big, and then Jay's getting paid as an artist. He's double dip. Right? So it was never no money there, ever. You know what I'm saying? So when I did Rockware, I didn't call it Rockefeller. I called it Rockware, so they couldn't own any of it. So to me, Rockefeller just became marketing to sell Rockware. And I'd be laughing at New York, because they'd be like, oh, you gotta blow it up. No, I don't. We own it. And y'all don't. And we just made $100 million this year. Right. And y'all didn't. And you're my commercial. You get none of this. I would fuck with them all the time. So that's the reason why they developed 360. Damn. Because of me. And that's why I know when people be like, oh, he thinks so much of himself. Like, I change the industry, I change awareness, I educate, I make them get at you different. Like Leo's game totally changed since I coined the word culture vulture and smacked him in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, you coined that word?
I didn't know you did.
I didn't know. I heard of it. I definitely heard you say
culture vulture. I made this shit up.
wow.
I was inspired by this artist BK because he made a painting called For Vultures. And then a culture vulture. And I started calling it a culture vulture. That shit went wild. I make up everything. I made up J Over, that name for J, hip hop, the A&R. Like I'm the name maker rapper. Motherfuckers, I always make names. I made up, when you use tags, like there's so many pause.
Like pause is you.
Don't play with
No, listen, I know you delivered it.
They made it up. I want them for everyone to know about pause. Now, that was a secret game that we used to play just for us to give shits and giggles. And then it ended up protecting me in this stupid ass industry because I wasn't playing none of those games.
So did you also come up with the name Rockefeller?
No, Tone Hooker came up with that.
Okay.
Original flavor came up. But it was like me that was like, yo, we gotta get a name. And so we got memes about everything. Some names are like that. So Tone Hooker from Original Flavor came up with that. It gets that.
Gotcha. Got you. What do you think about AI music? Is that going?
I've heard some that sounds really good, but I don't think there's any art in it.
So it's not the future.
It probably is the future, not my future. Right. Like I look at music as a different kind of art. I'm not in it to exploit it. I'm in it to create. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people that just want to get money from it, yeah, it might work. But for people that really get gratification from vibration from God, and communicating as a love language, I don't think they're gonna do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm a musician, like I'm old school everything. Like I don't even plug instruments into you gotta like the instruments. I don't plug into anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm old school.
Gotcha.
It's art. Like I love music for the art, not for the money.
I think you end up reuniting with Freeway to create the Black Guns and Freeway 365 and all that stuff.
Through the OAG. So me and Freeway were always cool. I remember when you lost one of his children. I found out. I think I might have been the first to call. You know. I look at them all as brothers, but he started to be involved in curriculum in this group, the OAG, the principals, all the economically challenged areas. And he started to come to the zones. So that's how we reconnected in education and trying to make sure that these kids' cognitive skills are up. Because for every child that can't read by the third grade, they build a jail cell for them. It's just about reading. You know what I mean? So because of that, that's what the album 365, we made another album that's not out yet. That's crazy. But it's in did you ever get the trailer? Yeah. You take a little check this out. I can show you some other funny shit too. But see you first to see this talk about be like, oh,
That's dope as hell. No, that's dope.
And that
When that would come out.
I'm still, it's on now. But that was the first episode, and I got notes, shit like that. You never know what the when it comes out, but
Should they already accepted it?
verbally.
Verbally? Okay. That's what's up, man. Hell yeah. They ain't back on TV. That's what we really need.
I never stopped.
I heard that.
Kids are always on TV. It's me having a synergy with corporate. That makes me comfortable. So I couldn't make Paid in Full or my Paid in Full the way they wanted me to if they funded it. I got the license and stuff, so I get to make it. That's why you see it before it gets picked, because I gotta make it first. And then I'd rather license it as far as, instead of them owning it. So I get to rent it. So it'll be domestic on Paramount Plus and BET,
Okay.
but it'll be on the rest of the way I get it from them.
Gotcha.
It's an international play for me.
Nah, I get it.
It's too crowded.
Man, I love
It's too
that.
fives out there. I want, extra.
Damon as the judge is dope.
Yeah. It's funny. You see, it's almost like the Office next to the Judge Show.
Mm-hmm. You're funny. Even when you're not trying to be funny, you're funny.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Going back, how did you mastermind Creating Full, like the first movie?
I experienced. I was there. I saw it. Paul and Richard, you said that's what worked. I was at the wake. I was there. So I get to make it.
Yeah.
It was in the music business, and I think Steve Ripken had a deal with Miramax, and then kissed me into his deal. So I was able, like, he didn't have the movie, so I was able to put it in balls to that. But my intention was always to make movies, but that one affected me the most because, it made me stop hustling. Like, I was like, damn, if Rich could get it, and then like that, just Little Brother, it was too vicious for me. And I thought, he was untouchable. So I was like, shit, did it to him. It was just time for me to go into the music business. That's why I pivoted it. And that's why I made that movie first. Because I wanted people to understand that hustling isn't as glamorous as you would think. The ups are cool, but the down, the cups are good. The fun is fun. It doesn't last very long. It's not sustainable.
Mm. So did you get a chance to watch the Diddy documentary?
Mm-hmm.
What was your thoughts on it?
I didn't say that I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Meaning, like, all that shit was just set for fucking TikTok. Just like, it felt to me like a long TikTok. Fucking commercial.
So, back in the day, early 2000s, you knew that Diddy was kind of like
Weird. I always thought he was weird. Like, he wasn't like a hood dude. He was like a barefoot dude. And he's from, like, I'm from Harlem, so Rockefeller was more gangster, like, I would say Park was more like Motown, and we were more like Stax Records. You know what I mean? We were doing two different things, so he just wasn't doing things that I would do. He was always a little suspect to bullshit. And then, like, Biggie, Biggie didn't love him as much as people think, because we knew Biggie pretty well.
how was your relationship with Biggie?
That was my man. I worked with Big. That's just Big Paul. Funny dude. But she was still here.
Yeah. You still with American News?
Yeah, that's what I'm watching.
Just double checking.
The new network. It's gonna launch. I can show you. We just repopulated it. We did a co-venture with Oterra, and more of a footprint, more sales. We'll have a radio station now, and I'm really looking forward to really launching it and making some money for them. I've been working on that shit forever.
Do you think Lyor Cohen is still trying to get you?
I mean, I don't think he's trying to get me. I just think he's a sucker, allegedly. And I just think he abuses our culture. I think if there's any way he could, stop me from doing what I'm doing, he would. He's butthurt about a couple of things. We'll get over it.
So, if we had to name your top 5 rappers of all time, do you got a list?
Rakim.
Rakim?
He never cursed, barely did jokes. Masterful.
So that's your goal.
I don't have a good undercoat. I never claimed to know anything. I never Oh, she is? Oh, Michelle's here from the Cover Girls. You remember the Cover Girls? she on the Star Show.
Okay, yeah.
So she's actually running the network now. So she was coming to go to the dinner. She's here. She's coming in. Yeah, she writes a lot of movies that are on BT as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, for every vertical, you need an octopus. Like in an octopus, every leg is considered a vertical. Every leg needs a brain. So for the new network and new studios, and I like our executives to be people like player coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it comes from protecting the creative as opposed to the business. And she's masterful at writing and singing and has history. So she comes, and she's also writing my book. So I got this book deal with Simon Schuster. And
That's dope.
yeah, the book's called Power by Damon Dash.
I love that. It's you, man. I like hearing positive things going your way.
I mean, again,
Because they don't seem to ever talk about that part, so I want to definitely hear it.
everything happens when you trip, when the devil can't get at you. So what would you rather do, be in hell, or just have devils talk about you? I'd rather be in heaven
Right.
and let the devils tell me when I'm something out, just so they look better. But you see me, you never see me struggle.
Right. Not one
You never
day.
see nothing bad. You never
Ever.
see, so like,
You live life in a pool. You live life by the pool.
yeah, that's it. I gotta be by the pool every day.
Because one of the things that really blew my mind, you know, I'm from Puerto Rico, so we get our news even secondhand from the United States. But the way they painted like Kanye West is that Jay was the one that at first wanted to bring him up, and then as you know more facts came out, it's like, no, you're the one that helped with College Dropout and all that stuff. Even with the documentary they made on it.
Jay didn't want to say.
Yeah.
He vetoed it. And we did it anyway. But yeah, that's the way the world goes, bro. You know, don't believe what they don't. You can't believe what man. I'm not. You can't believe what people that are manipulating culture tell you. You know, you have to go live it to learn. You have to see it with your own eyes. But you can't believe nothing you're told. You really can't. You know, I don't. And I know what people say about me that's not true so confidently. And what people believe. And guess what? I give no fucks. That's their karma. They're not evolved enough to have free will or choice not to be tricked by dumbasses. So then it just takes them that much longer to get out of hell. But I'm not going to catch a stray or a buckshot. Like one of the tests is to be distracted by insecure people and what they think. That's a test. And if you get caught up in that, you do things that will send you to hell. And I'm not trying to be in hell. I love my life, and I've been loving it. Like, again, I haven't seen anyone that talks bad about me with a bigger house. I don't understand, like, you know, how I can be in a better car or a better house than you, but you feel sorry for me because of what you heard. You should feel great based on what you see. You see me raising a baby and having a family and still being productive and not on any list that I don't need to be on, not in jail, alive, healthy, still crispy, and free. And you know, still triggering culture. Like, I feel like they stopped talking about Barry Gordy when he was like 40, 35, 54. Rockefeller ended in 2005. They still talk about me every day. My next decade is 60. I was not expecting people to still talk about it. I thought I'd be chilling, and I'm not mad at it. I actually love it. But I didn't know I was going to be able to enjoy making history while I was alive. Like I'm being celebrated. Like it's funny because people always go like, yo, no one ever celebrates you. I honestly think I'm the most celebrated. I do.
You're not lying, because
I think more people rally for me, and more people stand up for me, and more people argue in the barbershop for me, and more people tell me how I've affected their lives in a positive way for 20, 30 years. It's just funny how they try to manipulate perspective and perception, but in my world, from my eyes, it's like I get celebrated every day, and I appreciate people that feel sorry for it, but don't let them. I just celebrate it more. Like even in these times, like how many decades lately, not lately, but like every decade, they're like, right, you ready in? And then, you know, of course, to balance it, you have to get the bots and the other people that are trying to fool you to say shit. But yo, the fact that they still talking means I'm doing my people. You know what I'm saying?
And just
And I appreciate that.
analytics.
Puerto Rico, you from Rico?
Rico, no, I'm from originally from Bayamon, but then like now Bayamon, but now San Juan.
Which you mean originally and now?
Because you know, I moved, that's where I grew up until like 12, and then like now.
I'm from East Harlem, but I think I'm from Harlem because I hustle.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Raquel and Rincon. I love Rincon.
Rincon is nice.
Beautiful, so they big surf, beach is good. You know, it would make sense if you're going to make a lot of money not to live in LA. Taxes suck. Puerto Rico has no tax. That's where you go if you get money.
Especially for American Mom, because we're growing this podcast and, you know, we're getting there and then
Puerto
once.
Rico.
Soon, because they have to make
You don't want to make $100 million in LA.
I know.
They'll take it. You gotta have a crib in LA, but residency maybe in Puerto Rico or Florida. There's no federal taxes there. But in LA, it's so many taxes.
Yeah.
It's just where New York, LA, Jersey. I ain't making no money in those towns. So fuck that. But you'll understand. You know, a lot of people be like, yo, if I didn't have those problems, I feel good. Let me tell you something. You make $10 million and you gotta give like 5 of that to the government and you already spent 8. You be like, yo. You know what I'm saying? You be like, fuck these taxes. I'm telling you. And then when they on your head, you wanna get ahead of that. Okay. If you feel like, if you know that you're gonna make money, then get ahead of that. Not to say move. I'm just saying start protecting the money you don't have. Because once you get it, it's a target.
We gotta move the corporation, so.
You're not sure. If you get sued, you're fucked. Pause.
You gonna make him out?
Yeah.
What's in there?
This is a man.
I see that too. What else is it? I said, what's in there? And pause, by the way. That's the studio?
Yeah, it's a music studio.
And then there's a booth.
50. What were you back there?
He works back there.
What are you working on back there? But that's the studio?
Yeah.
I thought there was a microwave oven there.
But piggyback on what you said is analytics. When you go to YouTube, and I know you're not a big fan of Breakfast Club, but your interviews usually are the biggest rated. And I know you now for like about 3 years. Always driving a nice car, always in a nice house, always looking for nice. So I can say that the news is lying. It almost got me right now.
I'm good. I'm fucked up. Like I said, you know, they tested my bankruptcy. It's in fault. All this. No one wants to believe I ain't got no money. We'll talk about that later. You know, funny. Fuck the legend. So what time is it?
No, we can get you out of here.
Were you there with DMX and Jay rap battle?
What you talking about? I set that battle up.
Yeah.
That was okay. You weren't even looking at the trailer. So at the end of the trailer,
I saw it, and that's why I wanted to talk about it because we cannot. You told me already that we had to.
Can't use that part.
we could, but it's just like we don't want. I'm about to go ask. I'm about to deal with this. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Because they're gonna make the announcement soon. So that was a battle that was set up between me and my man Steve Mack for his crew to go against mine, but he brought the Rough Riders because I didn't know he had a partnership with him, and they brought DMX. And Jay was there, and you know, it turned into after everyone was battle, then it turned into between Jay and DMX. And I taped Big L actually taped it with my camera, and why wouldn't let us take DMX inside because it was copyright infringement and shit. Which I, in hindsight, if we would have got both sides of that, that would have been an epic. But yeah, I set that battle up. It was at a
Who
pool.
won?
Jay.
That's what's up. Now, who was the security guard that did the verse?
No, that's not the same thing.
Oh, that's not the same day.
You know what's ironic about that?
Okay.
Is they battled at the pool table before we got famous, and then we ended up touring around the world together on the Hard Knock Life tour. So that's from the Hard Knock Life tour, which is, again, I made that movie backstage. Again, the docu-series, you know, doing shit at 30 that no one, that people are doing now. And then that got distributed through Miramax as well.
At what age did you realize you wanted to pursue a career in the music industry?
When Rich got killed. So after they paid in full?
Yeah, so you were not doing both at the same time?
At some point I was, but I was hustling, and then when Rich got killed, I didn't want to hustle no more. But I didn't want to like have a traditional job. But that's when I pivoted into the music business. I was like 19, 18. I was a kid. So I didn't hustle very long. I had like a 3 or 4 year run, but it was intense. And then I realized it wasn't sustainable. You know, people I thought were cool would get killed or tortured. You know, so I was like, I wasn't really doing it to do it forever. When I was young, I just started to hustle because I wanted to buy a car, a Suzuki. And my mother would buy it for me. But I didn't have this intention of hustling my whole life.
That's what Suzuki Samurai?
That's what I wanted. I ended up with a Maxima with the kit. So a little bit better.
There you go.
And then it never stopped. So I've been getting money since I was a kid. So I don't even know life without getting money. But it's always been like, not money you could look at, just enough money to reinvest and have cash flow so that I could live a good life. You know what I'm saying? There's never been enough money to look at, and I don't get paid a fee. I get paid based on what I earn, and once I get paid, I got to put that money right back in to buy more work. Where other people get to just get paid. And where I got jammed up was, there was overdraw, like the Burt Padel's. You got a business manager, so like I could, because I knew I would, you know, you make money in clumps, like, you know, tranches. It's not consistent. So when there's no money in the bank and you know you're gonna get some money in a couple of months, they don't mind at a high interest rate. It extending overdraw. You just overdraw, and then when you get the money, you pay it back. When the economy cracked, there was no more overdraw, and that's what fucked me up. And then my accountant, you know, Barry Clarberg, did some bullshit, and then, you know, money, there was no more overdraw. Like it's like I forgot what year, like 2005, the overdraw was over, and that's when things would start leaking. So you know, things get paid, they just get paid late. And that's because, you know, corporately, it's funny, as an independent, people expect to get paid immediately, where when you do business with corporate, they don't pay you for 90, 120 days, and they be late 3 months sometimes, and no one says shit.
Right.
Like, I could like, have someone to work for me on a Saturday, and then be beefing with me on a Sunday. Like, people don't understand, it's like, if you have a set, or a staff, and that's 20, 30 people, it's not easy to do 20 or 30 different transactions right after the day after you did something. You gotta go over everything. And then you gotta specifically make sure people are right. And it's like, niggas don't just pay every day. That shit takes too long. Like, we have a pay cycle. But for some reason, independent don't respect independence, but kiss corporate's ass. So they hold you to a higher standard when you're an independent. So if I pay someone late, like a week, all of a sudden it's in the newspaper. But you know, when you do a corporate deal, it's like net 30, and they be 30 to 60 days late. And you don't say shit. You're not beefing. You know, but I guess it's all relevant. So you know, being an independent, And the more things you want, anytime a dollar comes in, that shit get burnt. I don't even, I honestly haven't known, I don't ever look at how much money I have had. That's, it's too temporary. It's like, whatever's in there, I still feel the same. Oh, you know what I mean? I still do the same shit. Sometimes it'll be crack. But it's like, nothing changes. I'm like, damn, ain't no money in the bank. We still got everything. And then money comes in, shit be late. And then money comes in, we pay it. And then, one thing that's fucked up is credit. I don't have any credit. I haven't had it since 2005. Cash for carry. But no one can understand the life of, like, when you get a check, you don't go buy a chain or a car. You pay an editor. You buy a camera. You pay a salary. It burns. I love it. It's freedom. But some people, like my girl, especially hers, like 5 lawsuits and, public scrutiny. You're not built for this, then, if you're worried about the wrong shit, it's not for everybody. If you're a history maker, if you're a general, if you're a warrior, if you're a conqueror, you're always bleeding. You're always going to get cut. You're always going to get a bruise. But the people in front of me look a lot worse. They're all dead or in jail. It's just crazy. But anyway, there's a lot more announcements to make, and I'll be back.
Right.
I consider y'all brothers. I never charge. I don't care. Because my friends, I want to see them do good. And I know they want to see me do good. So it's collective economics. People that are like-minded work together. Instead of charging each other, there's so many other things we can do. There's so many bigger wars we can fight. If they're 99. This is Dame Dash, you about to...
That's the sound of an American oil. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Al. It's just temporary. It's like, whatever's in there, I still feel the same. Oh, I still do the same shit. Sometimes it'll be crack. But it's like, nothing changes. I'm like, damn, ain't no money in the bank, but we still got everything. And then money comes in, shit be
Next up is trade number 4, electrical. One of the most profitable businesses you've never considered is in your walls. My wife and I are in the middle of building our dream for our home. We've been working on this for years, and we're literally finishing up the electrical on Monday. I was blown away at how much it costs to wire an entire house. We're talking all the light switches and all the outlets and plugs and sound and automation and security and window coverings and all the stuff. Over $100,000 to the electrical trade for this house. Now, we're building a ridiculous house, but the average house is $20,000 to $30,000 to wire a brand new house. And this is a monster market. Depending on where you look, it will estimate that the electrician business or market in the U.S. is around $250 billion. Electrical construction alone generated $115 billion in 2024, and projections lie. So in this video, I'm breaking down 6 of the highest paying trades in 2025 and how you can build real wealth with each. First, why are trades beating traditional jobs in 2025? So I want to tell you about Lindy's Law. Lindy's Law says the life expectancy of something is proportional to its current age. Another way of saying that is the longer something has been around, the longer it's probably going to be around. Let me give you 2 examples. The first example is all these AI companies that are popping up. So a couple years ago when ChatGPT first released, at the beginning there were all these companies launching products, and what they called them was like wrappers. So all they were doing is they were creating a website and an interface that was really just using ChatGPT, but making it on a website. So someone didn't go to ChatGPT, they just did it on the website. And then ChatGPT would roll out a brand new update that would make some of these wrapper AI companies completely obsolete. So while they might grow really fast at first, they're more like, then ChatGPT would roll out a brand new update that would make some of these wrapper ChatGPT, but making it on a website. So someone didn't go to ChatGPT, they just did it on the website. And then ChatGPT would roll out a brand new update that would make some of these wrapper AI companies completely obsolete. So while they might grow really fast at first, they're more likely for disruption really quickly. And so in these high startup tech environments, this is really common because everything is new. And when things are really new, there's a good chance that they're going to get disrupted, changed, and technology is going to come along, and it's going to kill it off. The second example I want to give you is the trades and home services business. This has been around forever. Like, we've been building and maintaining homes and servicing homes for as long as we've been building homes. So when you look at the trades, it's been around for a long, long time, and you can see that it's going to continue to be around for a long, long time. Most people don't know this, but you also don't even need to do hard labor to get rich in the trades. I run a portfolio of painting companies that do over $30 million a year. And guess what? I personally completely suck at painting. Like, I can do it. I can paint a wall, but it takes me a long time. I'm slow. I get paint all over myself. I learned how to market, how to sell, and how to manage production, how to hire great people to do a great job and manage the project management of delivering on our promises to customers. So look, if you want to create real wealth and freedom in your life, you're not going to do that as an employee, even if you're making $80,000 to $150,000 a year. And the real goal for me is creating freedom. And the way you create freedom is through business ownership. But not just any business ownership. What you need to be able to do is build a business and then hire a team that runs the day-to-day of that business. Because if you have a business, but you have to do every function, then you just own your own high-paying job. It's also easy to get into the trades. There's basically 3 ways that you can get into the trades and work your way into business ownership in the trades. The first is through labor. So that means you're doing the labor of the trade. So that could be painting, roofing, landscaping, building decks, HVAC, plumbing, electricians. The second way you can get into the trades is through the management side. So this is where you come in and you do sales or you do project management primarily. Those are the 2 best roles to learn any trade business, is the sales side or the project management side or the delivery side, like how we actually deliver on service to customers. The third way that you can get into some of these trades is you can just go for it. This isn't possible in every trade, but there are certain trades and home services that you literally could just go for it and just start, which we'll get to in this video. And finally, before we move on, I just want to be clear that this is not a get-rich-quick thing. I don't believe there is get-rich-quick. I believe that you can build real wealth and real freedom in your life faster than you think, but it's still going to take you 3 to 5 years to get there. I've worked with hundreds of people over the years, helping them create that kind of freedom in their life, and it takes time, but less time than you think. You've only got one life. 3 to 5 years might feel like a long time during it, but the reality is, if I can create real freedom in my life 5 years from now, I have the rest of my life to capitalize on all that freedom. So the goal is to use these businesses as a pathway to create freedom and create a platform for me to live and design the rest of my life from. This is what unlocks faster growth and huge potential in the future. Now, let's get into the 6 most profitable trades to get into in 2025, starting with my personal favorite of the 6, painting. Painting is the most underrated $1 million trade. So let me tell you about Brad.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be looking to start with this painting.
He's at the PCA Expo, he's doing talks, I've seen him multiple times just in the last few months at different events and things I've been to. Brad started his painting company in 2022, and in 2024, his business did $5 million in revenue and made $1 million in profit. That was Brad's 3rd year in business. And if you talk to Brad is just getting started. And I know, because I've worked with thousands of painting contractors over the years, he is just getting started. This is just the beginning. He did that in 3 years. It's not like suddenly he's going to plateau. There is a huge opportunity in building these companies. So there's 5 main reasons that I love the painting business. Number 1, it's easy to learn. Any business you ever get into, you're going to need to learn the basics and you're going to need to learn the fundamentals, and painting is a pretty easy one to learn. There's a reason why in college we train college students to run a painting business, because even college students can run a painting business. There's people all across the country every day who do their own painting inside and out. It's not that complicated. Yes, there's things to learn, but it's relatively easy. Number 2, there's low startup costs. When I started my painting company in 2010, I invested $200 to start the business, total, and I made $4,000 in profit in my very first month. Number 3 is fast cash flow. There's very little startup costs, and then there's very little overhead for running the business. You don't need an office, you don't need vehicles, you don't need a lot of equipment. Number 4, there's a huge lack of professionalism in the industry. It still blows my mind how low the bar is for professionalism and how easy it is to come in and outperform the companies that are already in the market. And I see this happening day in and day out with the people I actually coach who are just starting their businesses and growing them rapidly. Number 5, it's a huge growing market. Most people don't realize how big the painting industry actually is. So I live out in Colorado, and along the Front Range, it's about a 2-hour drive from Fort Collins to Colorado Springs. In that corridor, Sherwin-Williams sells $260 million in paint every year and owns 58% of the market. There's about $500 million of paint that gets sold in that little corridor of houses, which means the paint applications business, the business I'm in, is something like $2 billion a year. Now let's talk about the end goal for the painting business. You can sell a painting business if you build it big enough, but painting companies don't sell well. You don't get a very good multiple. What that just means is however much profit you're making per year in the business, take that number, let's say you're making $200,000 a year, and you multiply it by 2.5. And that's what you
thought you were just say 1.5.
business. Goal of building a painting business is to build it to about $2 to $3 million a year, where you have a 5-person team running it. An office manager, 2 sales reps, 2 project managers, and those 5 people can do about $3 million per year in business. You can make a 20% net profit margin. An office manager, 2 sales. Two project managers, and those 5 people can do about $3 million per year in business. You can make a 20% net profit margin. If you do the math, it's over $500,000 a year. But painting isn't necessarily the right path for everybody to get rich in the trades. I definitely recommend you watch the rest of this video to learn about the other 5.
pressure guy. Comes in with the heat. Alright, so while this is cooking.
Today we're going to price out how to paint the walls in a family room, as well as some wooden trim. We're going to prime, we're going to paint 2 coats, and finally we're going to add in the fireplace mantle for the customer. All along this, Michael and I talk about how we do it, the different techniques, some tips and tricks, and how we use Paint Scout to price super fast the customer.
Hey, welcome back. John from Paint Scout. We are excited to provide another video. We're creating these videos to help the industry. We believe strongly that if we provide our clients with the appropriate price, it makes running a successful painting business much easier. So today we're going to be taking a look at this family room, kind of great room, living room area here, and just talking about some different ways that we would come up with how long it would take using production rate estimating, as well as kind of show you a little bit of how to do this in Paint Scout.
Let me start an estimate here, so I'll start a new interior estimate. As per usual, the templates are great in Paint Scout, but we're just going to go with empty quote. And we are not good for contacting for job address, we're going straight to so three original walls, right in here.
Yep.
Now, let's get some dimensions of this thing here.
I like the idea of building this with like the walls as our main price, but then the customer's going to want some options. So they want an option to paint over this wood trim. So we've got the windows, the baseboards. We'll see here in a minute. There's a door that needs to be added. And then the second option they're going to want, as we start building this thing, is to paint this brick on the fireplace.
Sing a genius. Make a lot of money with this.
Alright, so
I'll do this so quickly. Just paying 3,000 to get some bullshit like this, man.
has a sense of this guy. We're going to address out an area, and we're going to add the living room. Perfect. Alright, width. I'm thinking it's probably 15 to 20, somewhere in there.
Is that the fireplace wall or the TV?
Fireplace wall, good question.
Fireplace, yeah, I think, yeah, the number of about 15, yeah, 15 to 20, sure.
I'm going 18.
Yeah, that works.
Length, TV wall, we would just need like probably, I don't know, what is it, like 22? 25,
Yeah, I was thinking 25, so I think we're about the same place there. It seems
perfect. And this is an interesting question. I guess the height. Now, people are going to say, well, is this part of the ceiling or part of the walls? I think that's a question probably for your customer. In my mind, it looks like the same color though. So, how do we want to address that?
yeah, I would think it probably should be considered part of the ceiling as far as like the architecture goes.
Okay.
I would say it definitely needs to be painted. That red stripe isn't something we decided.
That's pretty cool. I think I'm going to do that in my house very soon. So,
Trendsetter.
very much so. This this is new for 2030, and I'm gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
Alright, let's just go 8 foot then. 10 foot, 8 foot, 8.5, 8 foot. Alright, so we've already mentioned in there, the living room. You say we wanna do the walls, right? So, we're just gonna go and select your walls. UPD 5 square feet an hour, sounds good to me. System's coming up with 8.5 hours total for this room. I mean, I trust this rate, so I'm saying sure. It's good to me. Any feedback from you?
Nope, I like that. I would just need to add a little bit of like room setup to it. I don't see any major holes, things like that. We're going to require that the client move the TV before we get there. Just from a liability perspective. So we're not going to move that, but we are going to have to move.
Yeah, listen, this is how every industry works too. They'll all have companies and technologies that are public that then you can take the cash flow and put in. So you pretty much, you get a painting job, you pay out all your necessary costs, then you take the money and put it in the technologies that you're using, get a return there, and then you go and spend that money, and you're technically never spending principal.
You know, we got some windows, we removed those, we got this area behind us.
So you make 500 from a painting job, you put it in the market, that makes you another, let's say 250. You go out and spend the 250, really like 120 you spend.
It's honestly like such a minute amount of time that like I'm not gonna factor that in.
130 left, and then you still have the
But that's what we're talking about.
500
It's
principal.
also PCA standard not to remove that stuff. And I think kind of industry is agreed, but it's just one way to go around it. So, yeah, so that's where I'm at.
I agree 100%. We're looking at this picture that we have right now, the wall with the TV. Imagine that TV gone. Yeah, they take the TV down. Or the wall with that like 4 windows section. I don't know that the wall.
Payscout.com.
I actually would argue that it's probably going to take a little more time because of that added cutting around the window, especially with the stain trim there, which I don't want to get any paint on. Yeah, I'm going to have to tape that off or something along those lines. So it's like, again, I paint the wall with TV is, assuming the TV's down, faster, because it just, as a percentage of surface, I get to roll so much more versus having to use a brush.
Absolutely. So, yeah, quick little thing there. One of the questions we get, you know, what's the price? Obviously, we allocate 12.5 hours. That's crew time. This price you can see here does not include the materials. It's just labor time. So, if you're looking for how to price that labor time, we have other videos on how to get your hourly rate, which is critical as a reflection of your business, depending on where you are and what type of service offering you have. I include my materials as part of my labor rate. Mike, I know you add that on separately, but ultimately you're going to get to a pretty similar number. And so people are asking, you know, does this include paint? Does it not? Well, it's going to depend what that labor number is. In this case,
You do airwood, or probably 2 extra hours of prep. Again, for the, sanding and caulking and nail filling and just the different things like that.
Yeah, so we're add some windows in here. So we said we have 6. It requires sanding, priming. We have those baseboards. And then we were going to demand it too, right?
Yeah. You get ready to do this, is really work.
Footage into prep time as well, which is helpful at a certain point for production rates because like we.
And it's just going to give you another number, just like you would if it was a wall or
An option.
maybe fear and
Same thing, different price. And when we finish, we're going to have an option down that actually breaks that out for the customer. So they understand, okay, well, it's $3,570 total, but the base work is $70 up. So kind of helpful if they want to pick and choose a little bit more. And we can kind of deliver, pricing model that gets them to where they want to be for a budget. Cool. All right. Michael, I think that's good for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Ones that are fixing and not only are you whatever it is specifically, but
all those things like that. So
it's probably, that's going to be 8 hours for setup, all that kind of stuff, and then 8 hours to just apply the sweet coat paint. So that's kind of where my mind goes immediately. I don't want to allocate anything less than 2 full days for a person.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. Yeah, I feel like we could probably we might think about it slightly different. I think we would use like a, square footage, brick and, a rate of maybe, I don't remember exactly, like 50 or 60 square feet per hour.
Okay.
And I think we'd probably end up in the same place.
Let's see for argument's sake.
We're gonna add all the like masking time to spray and.
Yeah. Let's see for argument's sake. I think it's an interesting one. So there's my quick assessment. Now we are painting the walls here, so that does take down some time. Not for a full bubble. But let's just see here, Michael, from here. Let's request a rate, and we'll go Michael's mantle. Like that. And we got square foot of walls. So it says walls, but ultimately it's just square foot of surface area per hour. And here we've got a length of, I don't know,
8 by 8, something like that.
8 by 8. So width, height.
Obviously, we would just measure it with the laser measure if we were in the person.
Yeah, so we're in the room. If we switch to square feet, it's 8 by 8, so we have 64 square feet. And what would be your rate per hour?
Let's use 50 again. I'm not looking that up, but I think that seems about right.
50, okay. And you're gonna go, so it's 50 square feet per spraying, and then you got prep time, right?
Yeah. So again, point of prep time. To your point from before, like most of the cost of doing this happens before you get out your paint, or the time of doing this happens before. Yeah. So if we're looking at this 1.5, and your number was 16, and like, oh man, you got 10 times the amount that I do. But I think, you kind of made the reference before, is that like, the amount of time it takes to get ready to do this is really where it comes down to. If I'm set up, can I put paint on this area in a half hour out of a sprayer? For sure. It's just getting to the point where I actually pull the trigger on that sprayer is going to take every bit of 10 to 15 hours. Yeah. That's when I have, I can imagine 2 people, we're setting up a big plastic wall, kind of like, somewhere sort of like that red couch or whatever, and a bubble this in, ventilation going out one of the windows, masking off the actual like fireplace, probably the like hearth where that like blue base is, that all has to get masked off. Carpet, obviously, ceiling. You said walls. I'm probably still gonna put some masking on those walls just so I don't blow them up with different lasers, brushes, and primers and stuff. So yeah, I would honestly be somewhere in the neighborhood of the same thing that you had before, but I would get there just slightly different, and I'd probably go in the neighborhood of like 12 to 15 hours to mask this.
Okay, so we're gonna put 15 hours to mask. So yeah, so we ended up with kind of the same spot. I like your. Here's the thing: you can also break that down square footage into prep time as well, which is helpful at a certain point for production rates, because like we want to create a system where people are just counting and measuring. And what I just went through and what you went through were both like, there's some, personal experience that came into play. So say you were to go and do that, like my argument here would be you could essentially create, your rate with prep, given that we know it's like a mantle spray application. And here we can go down to, it might be 5. Right, so, sorry, that's the wrong place. So 64, and here we're doing 5. Right, so, that gets us to, so take the cup rate, we're at 13 hours, it's close. What about if we go to, 4.5? Whoops. Down to 14.5 hours. So, you're like, wow, 4.5 square feet per hour, but this is a reflection of the process, and now you just have to measure the mantle, and you've got a time that makes sense. And so I think that is where I believe everyone should be getting to. There's just a way to do this systematically, so you can hire an estimator, so you can get, have pricing that you feel confident in that tackles that prep. Because prep is like it's a beast on its own. So, anyways, I'll get off my mantle now.
It's so like if you might go into a room where it's like 2 stories tall, and you've got and they have similar like fireplace with the stone bricks around, and they want now it's the same thing but just twice as tall. And how do we account for that? And and the simple answer is like what you just showed. It's easy because you just measure, you just change the height dimension, and it's just going to give you another number, just like you would if it was a wall or any of the other surfaces like that.
Absolutely. Cool. All right, for those PaintScout users out there, or if you're not a PaintScout user, check it out, get a demo. Maybe this is for you, it's a painter, but we're gonna show you just quickly how to make this into an option. So, option's super powerful. The customer may have not even asked for this, but hey, we can do it now because we have a system that we can generate pricing really fast out of. So, Michael, would you go and combine this stuff? Would you do it independently? How would you present this to the customer?
Yeah, I probably have like a group option for the baseboards and the window trim. Personally.
Okay, so we're gonna go here and okay.
Yeah, you just remove the like double entry of the manhole, just show what it just did.
Yeah, so take that there, so we're gonna make this an option. Make an option. Make an option. And then we're gonna add that here. Okay, so there we are. We've got a grouped living room option here down at the bottom. So maybe we've got baseboards, window trim, fireplace mantle, and then we've got the living room walls, which that's what we asked for. How do you feel about that? How do you want to present to the customer?
Yeah, I like it. I think certainly I would take some time to like describe exactly what we're doing on the trim and mantle. I don't think we need to do that for the sake of this video. But I would try to provide a little bit more detail there, just from like a sales perspective. I want somebody to understand like the amount of time it's gonna, that cost includes cleaning, sanding, caulking, filling, all the things that we talked about in the video. I want the customer to, maybe just remember that we had that conversation, so when they go and compare my price, maybe to
I basically bought this roof over the internet, which wasn't something I'd ever done before, but it worked out real well. I was scrolling through Facebook and I found this ad by the Metal Roof Consortium. So I entered my information and they contacted me. After I answered the Metal Roof Consortium's ad, they explained to me that they didn't even have to come out to the house to measure anything. They could do it by satellite. And so that's what they did, and then they emailed me the estimate. I mean, it was so easy. That worked for me.
Sarabia's brother-in-law, Rick Harder, lives across the street and films the impact of Hurricane Iniki on Sarabia's home. Through a crack in plywood protecting his own window, Sarabia keeps an eye on the powerful storm.
Things were flying by that were amazing. Metal roofs, corrugated roofs were like flying guillotines.
Shingles peeled from the roof become dangerous projectiles caught in wind gusts as high as 175 miles per hour. Harder becomes alarmed by what he sees and shouts disturbing news to his brother-in-law across the street.
The eaves had separated from the posts, and they were...
In the next 12 to 24 months, I believe America will endure an age of chaos. It is likely to be more difficult to navigate.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to install roof shingles. So we're going to be installing the drip edge, we're going to be installing the starter strip, we're going to be installing ice and water seals, and a whole lot more. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Josh. We're doing all about DIY to save a ton of money. So be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so you get notification every time I release a new video. And hammer that like button for me. That's all I ask in terms of making this video. So we got a lot of shingles to do today, so let's get started. Before installing the shingles on the roof, I must first cover the roof in what's called roofing underlayment. And you can get this in synthetic with Blackwood Stitches, or you can get it in tar paper, which is we call felt paper. And you can get the tar paper in number weight 15 or number weight 30. If you do use tar paper, I recommend number 30 tar paper. It holds up way better under windy conditions. What I like about synthetic roofing underlayment is that it's much more lightweight for the amount of area this covers. This covers 1,000 square feet. And it's, as you can see, not very heavy and easier to work with. And also, it seems to hold up much better over time, and it seems to hold up better under windy conditions compared to the tar paper. So I recommend synthetic roofing underlayment. And to secure the underlayment, I'm going to be using a cap stapler, and this is made by Hitachi, which the newer name is the Matago, which is the same thing, it's under a different name. And I like this because you gotta put in a lot of cap nails in order to hold the underlayment down to the roof. And with this tool, it goes much quicker, but if you're doing a DIY project, you don't want to purchase this tool. I understand because it's kind of expensive. You can get away with using the standard cap nails. This is what the cap nails look like up close. As you can see, it's a ring shank nail with a cap on the end of it, and it allows more surface area to hold the tar paper or roofing paper down. So now that you know your options for underlayment, let's go install this stuff. I'm now going to install the first row of underlayment. Now, I'd like to let you know, typically I would put ice and water shield, which I will be putting that on this roof evening, but I didn't have any locally available. It's coming with my shingles, but the same process goes for installing the underlayment. You just first roll it out, and then go flush with the end of your roof, and overhang actually just a little bit, about a quarter-inch below, because this will shrink really slightly, but that's enough that you want to keep it inwards. So I'm going to slide this out first. And the cool part about this stuff, as you can see, there's little crosshairs where each nail goes, and then at the bottom, as you can see, you put more nails. So I'm just going to take my stapler and hit each one of those holes. And the main thing with this stuff is running it square, so I got one locked in the bottom here, so I'm going to roll it out a little bit and then pull it down to the edge of the roof. Alright, so now that we're started, I'm just going to hit a nail in each one of those crosshairs. And then just continue that across the whole roof. In order to reload this gun, it first takes staples up into the magazine. So I'm first going to place staples right in here, like so. And then I place the caps into the roof. And then at the bottom, as you can see, you put more nails. So I'm just going to take my stapler and hit each one of those holes. And the main thing with this stuff is running it square, so I got one locked in the bottom here, so I'm going to roll it out a little bit and then pull it down.
Was to be delivered.
The ice and water shield is sticky on the bottom. It's going to stick right to that plywood. And as you can see, it's like a big piece of tape. So all you got to do is peel that off. It's going to stick right to the roof. Very nice setup. So let's get started with it. All right, so we're first going to put it right over here next to the edge of the roof, and make sure you lift up the felt paper that it goes underneath of it. Like so. And then we're going to come down flush into the roof here. Now I'm going to peel back this tape, and it's going to stick right to the roof. And now that we got started, I'm going to peel back this and roll it at the same time. And again, keeping it flush with the bottom of the roof. So I roll it a little ways, and then square it up with the roof, and then pull more of the plastic off of it. And now we pull the top piece of tape off of the ice and water sheet.
What you want to do is save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you actually turn this stuff digging into the room?
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is MacBook Neo. An amazing all-new Mac at a surprising price. To make it, we reimagined how to build a laptop from the ground up, and we used the most recycled material of any Apple product. We started with aluminum because it's light, durable, it just feels really great in your hands. MacBook Neo has a stunning 13-inch liquid retina display for vivid images and sharp details.
inches plus in order to not have a nail right in this joint. So we'll nail the ends of the shingles, and then we nail one at 13 or so. Then we can nail heavily throughout the rest of the shingle. So I'll show you here on this one. So the first thing I'll do, like I said, I'll put my shingle down like so, and I'll run it up over here, and I'll put the bottom of it in